Hey guys, Mike here. So today we're going to talk about Palantir stock and SOFI stock news. Hadn't done one of these updates in a while, so we're going to go through the charts and show you why Palantir could be setting up for a move, just looking at historical patterns you see on the chart for this one. And we're looking at going forward in the first quarter, which could be bullish for Palantir and beyond for that matter. And with SOFI stock, why you see so many articles and analysts now recommending the stock and what they're looking at. And so if you're getting out of it, hit the like, subscribe button for me, guys. Really appreciate that. And without any further ado, let's just get right into the chart of Palantir first. And looking at the chart here, guys, you can see what it's been doing is just bouncing off, I think 10 times now, off that support level at $18. And if you look throughout the chart, you can see historically when it gets on one of those support levels and keeps bouncing off, consolidating, it usually makes a move up. And especially since we are, obviously seem to be in a positive market right now, with other stocks are moving up as well. And our next resistance, if it does, will be $21. And if you look back, when it does usually start to take off, I mean, you'll see how long this took. This bounce. And then we started to take off, and it took about 2 weeks. Usually it'll bounce off that, get rejected, consolidate, and then start to move up again. If we're in a positive market, you can see multiple times throughout the chart. And just kind of catching up since I hadn't done one of these updates due to the holidays in a while. Now you can see these are the latest commercial contracts showing you obviously that they are in multiple different industries. Got DuPont Therapeutics, we got Merck, who we pretty much all know who they are. And so they're working with those. Then you got Kinder Morgan. This one right here is a US-based gas storage operations company, which they'll help them with their data and making things more efficient there. And then, of course, you got the leading Medicare, Medicaid, commercial and secondary payer reimbursement recovery firm, NSP Recovery. They're going to be working with as well. And then just going over the latest government contracts. Let's not forget here, we got the U.S. Army. Once again, so it's going to be around 116.3 million. You got Space System Command, SSC, around 43 million. And then the Capability Drop 2 program, which is another government contract. That was the big one they announced recently, 823 million is what it can be worth. And then you got the NIH, which have been working for a while, so they also have multiple contracts with them as well. And then delving into the revenues from commercial to government, because commercial contracts, what everybody's focused on right now. And this is a projection. I found an article, and it's from 2021 to 2030. And you can see commercial revenues or contracts are going to be to the left. Government revenues right there in the middle, and then to the far right, the combined total revenues for each year. And when we look right here at 2021, you can see what the projections are. The government contracts are still greater, but then as you pan out, I expected from these projections to see the commercial contracts actually overtake the government contracts, but according to Seeking Alpha, they actually believe the government contracts will continue to grow and actually at a faster pace than the commercial contracts, which is kind of surprising. I'm not sure I agree with that at all, but we'll see how it makes out. Either way, if you look at the total revenue, which is what they were really focused on, they're projecting by 2030 around $6.6 billion. And that will be an increase from 1.5 billion right now. So, good growth if they actually hit their projection numbers. And of course, more important, this goes over projected profitability for the company. And so, you're looking at nominal profits of 141 million are projected for 2025 with further growth towards 1.5 billion by 2030. And so that's going to be big for Palantir. So everybody's kind of waiting on right now. And there's one area in particular which I don't think is getting enough focus because it's still such a small and new asset class, which is cryptocurrency, right? When they did Foundry for crypto. And so, in this one, which is interesting to say, is I think you're going to see commercial and government contracts come out of this, right? As the government tries to regulate the cryptocurrency industry, they have a lot of contracts with Palantir. They've seen how their AI and software works. And so where they're trying to cut down on money laundering, things of that nature. And so they could be used on both sides from commercial and government. But the reason why I think this is a big deal for them if they can really get in and show them what they can do is because just how small cryptocurrencies is right now compared to other asset classes. I mean, let's not forget that, Apple by itself just hit $3 trillion, while the whole crypto markets, market cap's around 2.1 to 2.3 trillion. The U.S. stock market, at least the New York Stock Exchange, is around 28 trillion. The Nasdaq's around 26 trillion. The bond market's even larger than that in the trillions. Globally, it's around $119 trillion. And so, you know, it is a baby. As you can see the size right here, the bubbles kind of compare it. But I mean, you got individual companies that are worth more than a whole asset class right now. And so if they can get in with, you know, these crypto companies, and not only that, the governments, not just here in America, but around the world, on trying to help regulate it, make it safer, less money laundering, all those other things, they can do that. You're talking about a whole boatload of money and getting in at the ground floor. Okay, while this asset class is, you know, less than companies, individual companies we have right here in America. And so that will be huge for them. You know, looking at the chart, historical patterns usually say eventually it's going to make a move up because it does respect its, you know, support and resistance levels. We'll see how that goes. Right now we seem to be in an upward trending market. Usually January is pretty good when we come out of December, so we might see a good January and February. We'll see if that can uplift Palantir. It was a little green today. We'll have to see on that. And so let me know what you think down the bottom, especially about the crypto part. I'm curious to get your input on that. And so let's go ahead and jump into SOFI stock chart and what it's telling us now. And looking at SOFI stock chart, what you can tell right here, guys, if it does those big moves up, big moves down, you know, it consolidates anywhere from 60 to 70 days on norm here. I think right now it's been kind of consolidating, trading sideways, bouncing off that resistance level of 16 for about 27 days. I don't mean it has to go up to 60 days. You know, we'll see, because there's a lot of options right now, bullish options on SOFI, usually in the anywhere from March to June range. And so people are expecting this stock to move up, and if it keeps following its pattern, you know, that's what's going to happen. Obviously, it keeps bouncing off the 14, but it keeps bouncing off and getting rejected at the 16 level. And so we're kind of stuck in that range right now. But as you can see, once it starts to take off, that's exactly what the normal pattern is for it right there. And, you know, looking at Q4 guidance, we just finished that. You know, it should be a good quarter for them. You know, they're projecting between 272 million to 285 million for Q4. This represents around 49 to 55% more revenue year over year. You know, and then you got 42% of its new loans originated this quarter were personal loans, and 23.3% were home loans. And the big one is they're expecting to produce a 2021 revenue of between 1.002 billion to 1.012 billion for the entire year, which would be huge for the company. But I will warn you right now, when they go to report, the negative part, which I fear is usually what gets you, is when you start looking out for the rest of the year and making your projections. And I think they're going to have to lower them because of what happened with student loans. We know they got delayed till May now. Who knows if, I mean, it's going to go through the whole year. I don't know, but they keep kicking this can down the road for people to repay their student loans, of which we thought this was going to kick in January. We thought this was going to be over. People would have to start paying student loans back, which means they would be refinancing, which means SOFI, you know, would actually start making probably between $25 and $50 million back towards them in 2022 for revenue. And that's probably not going to happen now. So we're going to see what the guidance is after they report the fourth quarter, because that's what, you know, usually the prices are going to be based off. Not what you've done in Q4 is what you think you're going to do in the next quarter and the next 3 quarters and all that good stuff. So that we got to watch out for. But, you know, the big one too is, and maybe they get this done before that report, which would be fantastic, of course, is the bank charter. And the real big reason for that is, you know, it's simply this, and I love what this is. It says, how does the bank charter structurally change SOFI's business? And it's all about the numbers, right? Right now, SOFI currently relies on $6 billion in warehouse capacity alongside its own equity capital to fund lending originations. Remember, they can't hold any deposits on hand, okay? Because they don't have the bank charter yet. On average, they pay 3% or 300 basis points to originating partners to lend capital to its members. I mean, that is a massive amount of money. But with the charter, SOFI will be able to use its own members' deposits to originate loans like a bank, which means those 300 basis points in capital costs are eliminated. And if you need a visual right here, as I've showed you this before, but this is, you know, what you're looking at going towards EBITDA, right? So you're looking at 193 million for this year, projected 234 million the next year, on up to 2025, almost $300 million. So that is nothing to sneeze at. It's going to be huge for this company. And I have no doubt that's why you're seeing so many of these articles come out and so many analysts jump on board, because they're projecting that they're going to get that bank charter. And so like this just came out yesterday when it's like, you know, 3 high growth stocks Wall Street thinks could soar 50% this year. And if you come on down, you can see right here, SOFI Technology is number 3, and the main reasons right there at the bottom, which the company expected to acquire a national bank charter that gives it a lot more control over its loan origination practices. And as you can see, if we go to our friends at TipRanks, look at just the top analysts, you got 5 buys, 2 holds, and if we scroll down right there, Morgan Stanley 8 days ago with the holidays gave it a buy rating with a $20 price target. Citigroup a couple weeks ago jumped on $20 buy price target. And so, you know, you're looking anywhere from 20 to 50% upside off of these targets. And if we go to another site to see how they think, they have a buy consensus of 82% for this one. They have a mean price target of $26. So that's around 64% upside. They got 13 analysts covering it on this site right here. If we look to the right, there's Morgan Stanley, Rosenblatt, Citigroup, Keefe, all of them. And so, you know, people love this stock. And this could be why you see SOFI kind of just trading up, you know, getting rejected at 16, but staying between 14 and 16 right now instead of just taking off, because it actually does have those bullish options calls. But as far as people buying the stock, you know, maybe people are just saying, I got to wait on this bank charter to see if this is going to happen, because most people are expecting it to happen at least in the first quarter here, January, February. If they could do it before they have to report earnings, that would be even better. Or maybe during earnings they announce it, that would be huge. And because they could be trying to offset that with the news of they might have to lower their forecast because of the student loan issues. We don't know. You know, the other thing to look at, they're going to be getting a lot of attention because, you know, what's coming up soon, it's going to be the Super Bowl. Playoffs are going to be starting in about 2 weeks. And so you're going to end up having the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium. And so they're going to be having a lot of commercials run. Remember, millions of people is like the most popular thing people watch in sports, at least here in this country, in a year. And so it's something to think about as well. So we'll see how that goes. Helps them with the member account, which have been growing rapidly. And so let me know what you think, guys. And if you get any news about the bank chart, I look everywhere for it. You know, send it over to my email. Hit me up in the comments, whatever you got to do, because that'd be nice to see. Maybe we get a leak out there somewhere and get a source telling us what's going on before it happens. Sometimes people are able to do that, but, you know, I'll keep looking for you. If I find something, I will let you guys know. And hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you probably tomorrow.